Do.
Dub, Dub, can you hear me?
I'm hearing something.
Dub, you need to make a Minecraft video.
I'll I'll get to it.
You haven't made one in forever. You gotta make one.
I'll get to it eventually.
You're gonna make me do this.
What the? Did my video card take a dump?
Dub.
She's right behind me, isn't she? Here we are back on Diamond Society for the first time in quite a while. So, what happens was I built that giant hole, that really big pit mine I made, and it kind of took a lot of, just a lot of ambition out of me. Kind of to the point where I needed to take a break. So, of course, I did something even more grindy. Now that I'm back, I got a project I want to do, and involved digging. You know exactly where this is going. You know exactly the joke's right here, right in front of you. So what I figured out is that the server's got a few set up mob farms. It's got a guardian farm. It has a pigman farm. It has an enderman farm. The one thing it doesn't really seem to have is a properly decent, all-purpose mob farm. Now, granted, people have skelly spawners. You get bones from those. Zombie flesh is... We've already got a pigman farm. Zombie flesh is not an issue. There's a few places with gunpowder farms. We don't have... they're all out at people's places. So this here... If I just hop up this ladder... it's... Right, so that's bedrock. Ah! The fuck was that? Something shot me. Come up here. You notice there's an awful lot of brick on here, and the reason for that is because we're in an ocean. Okay, so I don't have to worry about lighting up caves. The nearest land is right over there, way out of render distance, further than 128 blocks away. In the process of doing this, I found a bunch of the caves. I'll still have to find more to light them up. Let's go here and find out what shot at me. Who shot at me? What did I take damage for? Awesome. Invisible damage. That's great. So the beacon here was here obviously for all the digging. It's gonna have to go. So if you have seen some of my older stuff, like back on Asylum, you would remember, if I grab some of this, just follow along for a minute. Okay? You remember I made a 5, 6, 7, 8. I made a mob farm that only made 2 high mobs, 2 high by 1 wide mobs, for the purposes of getting enough gunpowder and other stuff for whatever I happen to need it for. So that was a while ago. I don't expect everyone to remember that, but I'll lay out the basic gist of how it works. It's not as horrifyingly efficient as a farm could be, but that's because it has to self-filter. So let's pretend. What we got here? EDU. Let's grab this block of diorite. Granite, sorry. Let's pretend this block of granite is a dispenser. Not a step. A dispenser. So we'll go here. It will dispense a bucket of water, like that. down a down something that's the right size. Okay. So you build this up like that. Okay. Or with slabs right there, depending on how tight you want to make it. The only stuff that can spawn in here are 2 high mobs. So zombies, skellies, creepers, witches. This comes on. They get flushed out because they can't fight against water the way we do. Flushed into a channel, which will be sending them straight up. We use soul sand because of that wonderful mechanic. Right? I need to bring at least one more bucket of water down here. Right? Because soul sand is got this wonderful bit where... Yeah, I'll just drop all my food on the ground. And kill my water supply. Give me a sec. So as I was saying... Yeah, that's... Gotta change my screenshot button around again. Soul Sand has this wonderful ability now that it can shoot stuff in the air, right? Which means you don't have to worry about water ladders and signs and crap like that. This will simply ferry everything straight up into a collection point where it can drop them all back down. Whereas before, like every other, how to put it, because we're building so close to spawn, I don't want this to be hideously ugly. It's not going to be a great floating eyesore the way a one of the other water flush ones would be. And because it's not going to make spiders. Sleep. Oh, wait. I think my bit of lag is that Griff went to go grab some ice. And he's flying all over the place, making the server do stuff. Eventually we'll wake back up again. There we are. So yeah, the trade-off is that instead of having to filter out spiders, it just doesn't make spiders. It obviously it was never going to make Endermen anyway. But it'll make mobs. Ah, what the feck? What the heck keeps hitting me? Anyway, yeah, it'll make the mobs that make the products that I want. And rather than having it be out in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to build it here next to spawn, so whoever wants to gets to come use it. Yeah, it's going to be a bunch of redstone. However, I'm going to set it up so it only runs if you are standing on a pressure plate. So if a player is actually here, then the farm will run. As opposed to people going by and getting a whole bunch of lag because of all the lighting updates and stuff. People are AFKing enough on here. I don't think it's going to mind. I don't think they're going to mind much. Come AFK a bit more somewhere else. I just have to figure out. I have to put in a bit of a subfloor for a bunch of the redstone. Possibly a sorting system. I'll be back in a bit once I figure that part out. Well, it's a little bit later. I wish I could say I've done more. Unfortunately, we've had to do a slight side project. You see that little bastard all the way out there? Him. And all of his horrible, rotten little friends kept spawning, pushing me all over the place. Couldn't work. Which means I'm forced to kind of waste time on a deslimification project. Should be fairly simple. I need a block that I can walk on, is cheap, and mobs can't spawn on. One of these blocks is bedrock, which is already in place, and the other is path blocks. Hopefully, once I cover this entire floor of this thing in path blocks, I can actually get some frickin' work done around here. They're getting, of course, now they're not spawning at all. Of course, they're not. They're making a fool out of me. But things can't spawn on path blocks. Things can't spawn on bedrock. And then when I need to run redstone, I'll just take a page from Cortez's book. And, oh, you got to be kidding me. Now I have to wait for you. No, I don't. Take a page from Cortez's book and run my redstone across the top of jack-o'-lanterns. Because you can put redstone on them, and they'll also help keep down the lighting updates. Which is going to be... which would be a rather heavy source of lag in this idea. Earlier today, I was getting some help from Griff. He helped me dig out the last of this. He ran off to get... a few hours ago, he stepped out to get cigarettes, ice, and then never came back. What happened to this block of dirt? Did you fall into a hole? Oh, for frick's sake. Yeah, so progress has been a little slow. You can see I need an awful lot more dirt. I gotta do a lot of digging, and then a lot of path blocking, and then I can finally start in on the actual bare bones of this project. That's going to take a while, but seeing as I haven't been putting out much content lately, it should at least guarantee me one more video. I will try to get a bunch of this done, and see you again in the future. Later.